Welcome to Speak English Corner, a calm space where we slow down, listen deeply, and rediscover the quiet strength inside us. Today's episode is called Take Control of Your Mind, Master Your Emotions. And this is not about suppressing what you feel. It's about understanding it. Learning to steer your thoughts and emotions with clarity, with wisdom, and with peace. Sometimes, our minds feel like a storm. Thoughts rush in like strong winds. Emotions crash like waves. And before we know it, we're lost in the noise of it all. Anger, fear, overthinking, self-doubt. They rise so quickly, and we forget that we have a choice not to be swept away. Because even in the middle of the storm, there's a still place within you, a quiet center where calmness lives. Most of us just forget how to return there. We've been taught to chase success, to manage time, to control outcomes. But no one really teaches us how to manage the one thing that shapes everything else. The mind. Your mind is powerful. It can be your greatest ally or your toughest obstacle. When left unattended, it pulls you into chaos, but when understood, it becomes your compass. Think about it. Every emotion you feel, every word you speak, every decision you make, they all begin in your mind. You cannot control the world outside you, but you can control how you respond to it. And that's where true power begins. When someone speaks harshly to you, you can't stop their words. But you can decide what those words mean to you. When a situation doesn't go your way, you can't rewrite it, but you can choose how much peace you lose because of it. That's the quiet art of emotional mastery, to be aware enough to choose peace over reaction. But let's be honest, it's not easy. Because emotions are not weak. They're wild, honest, and alive. They're part of what makes us human. You can't silence them, but you can learn to listen to them differently. Emotional control doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop fighting what you feel. You learn to recognize anger without becoming it, to feel sadness without drowning in it, to acknowledge fear without obeying it. When you learn that, you begin to move through life not as a victim of your emotions, but as their observer, their guide. Imagine your mind as the sky. Sometimes the clouds are dark. Sometimes lightning flashes across it. But the sky itself, it never disappears. It's always there, vast, open, steady. Your thoughts and emotions are just the weather passing through. They change, they shift, they fade. But you, the awareness behind them, you remain. That's where your freedom lives. That's where peace begins. In this episode, we're not going to escape our emotions. We're going to meet them. We're going to learn how to understand the language of the mind, how to pause before reacting, and how to find balance between what we think and what we feel. Because the truth is, you don't need to silence the storm to find peace. You just need to remember that you are not the storm. You are the sky. The mind is a beautiful thing. It's the reason you can imagine, dream, plan, and create. But it's also the reason you sometimes feel lost, anxious, or overwhelmed. Because your mind isn't just a tool. It's a world. And if you don't understand how that world works, you'll mistake the noise inside it for the truth. The mind is always trying to help you survive. It was designed to protect you, not necessarily to make you happy. That's why it reacts so quickly. It's wired to detect danger, to predict, to prepare. Thousands of years ago, that instinct kept us alive. But today, most of our dangers are not wild animals or storms. They're emotional. A harsh word, a rejection, a change, a failure. And yet the brain reacts the same way. Your heartbeat rises. Your muscles tense. Your thoughts speed up. You're not in danger, but your mind doesn't know that. So it spins stories to make sense of what it feels. Stories like, I'm not good enough. They don't care about me. I always mess things up. It's not truth. It's protection. But when we believe those stories, we mistake the alarm for reality. The mind is like an overprotective guardian. It wants to keep you safe, but sometimes it does so by keeping you small. It tells you not to try new things because failure might hurt. It tells you not to love too deeply because heartbreak might follow. It tells you not to speak your truth because others might not understand. It means well. But if you let it control you, you end up living a life of constant defense, and a life lived in defense can never feel free. That's where emotional chaos begins. Not because the world is cruel, but because the mind is constantly fighting invisible battles. One part of you wants peace. Another part of you is afraid of losing control. One part wants to move forward. Another whispers, it's safer to stay where you are. It's not that you're broken. You're just human. The mind is built on contrast. It holds both the shadow and the light. It can be your greatest friend or your greatest storm, depending on how you choose to relate to it. So how do we begin to take control? Not by force, not by silencing it, but by understanding it. Imagine your mind as a small child tugging on your sleeve. It keeps repeating, look at me, listen to me. If you ignore it, it screams louder. If you yell at it, it cries harder. But if you kneel down, look it in the eye, and ask softly, what are you trying to tell me? It calms down. That's exactly how your emotions work. They are messages, not enemies. Every emotion is trying to tell you something. Anger says, a boundary has been crossed. Fear says, something here feels uncertain. Sadness says, you've lost something that mattered. And even joy whispers, you're exactly where you need to be. When you stop running from them, you begin to hear their wisdom. The chaos in your mind doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been listening to too many voices at once. Your fears, your memories, your expectations, your guilt. But beneath that noise, there's another voice. A quieter one. It's the voice of awareness. It doesn't shout or argue. It simply notices. That's the part of you that can step back. Watch a thought arise, feel an emotion swell, and yet not be consumed by it. That's the real you. The one who sees, not the one who gets swept away. Taking control of your mind begins there. Not with control, but with clarity. You can't stop your emotions from appearing, but you can choose how to meet them. You can say, I see you. I understand you. But I decide what happens next. And that small pause, that space between emotion and reaction, is where freedom lives. Because once you understand the source of your chaos, you no longer have to fear it. You can walk through the storm and still feel steady inside. So the next time your mind starts racing, or your emotions feel too heavy to carry, remember this: you are not at war with yourself. Your mind isn't the enemy. It's a mirror, reflecting what still needs your love, your patience, your care. Learn to look into that mirror gently, and you'll see that peace was never gone. It was just waiting for you to see clearly again. There's a quiet power that comes from simply noticing, not fixing, not analyzing, just noticing. Awareness is the bridge between chaos and clarity. It's the space where you finally step out of the storm and realize you've been the sky all along. We often think peace means having no emotions, but that's not peace. That's numbness. Peace comes from learning how to see emotions without letting them define you. When you start to observe your thoughts and feelings, something shifts. You begin to see that they rise, they fall, they move like waves, but they are not you. Let's imagine a simple moment. You wake up late. You rush out of bed. Your phone buzzes with emails. Your mind starts to spin. I'm behind. I'll mess everything up. Today's already ruined. Normally, you would get caught inside that storm. Your breath shortens. Your shoulders tighten. You carry that heaviness with you all day. But this time you pause. You take one slow breath. And instead of believing every thought, you notice it. You think, my mind is panicking again. You smile softly, almost amused, because you recognize this pattern. And suddenly the grip of chaos loosens a little. Nothing outside you has changed, but something inside you has. That is awareness. Awareness doesn't silence your thoughts. It changes your relationship with them. You stop being the actor in every story your mind tells. You become the observer sitting in the audience, watching, breathing, understanding. The stories still play out, but you no longer mistake them for truth. Here's a truth most people forget. The mind will always have something to say. That's its nature, and to narrate, to predict, to replay, you can't stop it any more than you can stop the wind, but you can choose how much attention you give it. You can watch your thoughts pass by like clouds. Some are light and passing. Some are dark and heavy. You don't have to chase them or run from them. You just let them move across your sky. That's the essence of awareness, non-resistance. One of the most gentle ways to practice this is to anchor yourself in your breath. When your mind feels loud, don't fight the noise. Just bring your focus to the quiet rhythm of your breathing. In, out, slowly. As you breathe, notice what's happening inside. What emotion is here right now? Where does it live in your body? Is it tightness in your chest? A heaviness in your stomach? A lump in your throat? Don't label it as good or bad. Don't try to change it. Just see it, feel it. Let it be there. Because when you allow an emotion to exist without judgment, it starts to soften on its own. Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. The shadows don't vanish right away, but you see them clearly. You stop tripping over what you couldn't see before, and that's the real magic. seeing without judgment. Most of our suffering doesn't come from what we feel, but from what we think about what we feel. We feel sadness, and then we say, I shouldn't feel this way. We feel anger, and then we say, I'm such a bad person. That second layer, the judgment, is what keeps the pain alive. When you remove that layer, what's left is just pure emotion, energy passing through, trying to move, trying to be understood. The mind heals when it's seen with kindness. Awareness doesn't demand perfection. It simply invites presence. You don't have to meditate on a mountain or silence every thought. You just need to notice yourself living. Notice how you speak to yourself. Notice how your body feels. Notice when you're rushing, when you're resisting, when you're breathing. Every act of noticing is an act of freedom. Because the moment you observe your thought, you are no longer trapped inside it. So the next time emotions rise, don't run. Don't react. Just pause and say, I see you. You don't have to understand the whole story. You just need to meet the feeling with gentle awareness. Because awareness is not weakness. It's mastery. And the more you practice it, the more you realize, peace was never about controlling your emotions. It was about understanding them. And through that understanding, you become free. Awareness is the pause, but response is the choice. Between what happens and how you react, there's always a tiny space. And inside that space lies your freedom. Most people live in reaction. Something triggers them, a word or a tone, and before they even know it, they've already replied, defended, shouted, or withdrawn. It happens fast, almost automatic. That's because your mind, trained by habit, tries to protect you. Again. It sees threat where there might be misunderstanding, sees rejection where there might just be silence. Reaction is the body's reflex. Response is the soul's decision. Imagine this. You're driving and someone cuts you off in traffic. Your heart jumps. Anger flashes like fire. Your mind shouts, "How dare they?" If you react, you might honk, yell, or carry that anger all day. But if you pause, just for a breath, you create space. You notice, my heart's racing. I'm angry. You breathe once, twice. You realize you're safe. And you decide, this moment doesn't need to steal my peace. The driver keeps going. But you stay calm. That's mastery. Not control through force, but through awareness and intention. First, pause before emotion becomes action. That pause is your power. It's small, but it's everything. You can't always choose your emotions, but you can choose when to act on them. When something triggers you, practice stopping for one deep breath. That single breath separates reaction from intention. It's the breath where awareness lives. You don't have to respond instantly to life. Let silence speak first. Second, name what's happening after you pause. Name what you feel. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. When you name an emotion, you take it out of the shadows. You move it from the heart into the light of understanding. This is not to overanalyze, but to recognize, this is what I'm feeling, and I can hold it without being consumed. Naming an emotion transforms chaos into clarity. Third, choose with intention. Once you see clearly, you can choose your next step consciously. You can choose kindness instead of revenge. You can choose honesty instead of silence. You can choose calm instead of control. Each time you choose with awareness, you strengthen a new path in your mind, a neural route that leads toward peace, not conflict. It's like carving a new trail through a forest. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. At first, your old reactions will still appear. That's okay. Just keep choosing. Keep walking the path of intention. Fourth, respond. Don't suppress. Mastering emotions isn't about pretending they don't exist. It's about expressing them wisely. If you feel anger, acknowledge it. But instead of exploding, channel it. Write, move, speak when calm. If you feel sadness, don't hide it. Let it breathe. Give it words, music, or silence. When emotions are seen and expressed gently, they transform instead of controlling you. Suppression builds pressure. Awareness releases it. Fifth, practice small moments of mastery. You don't have to start with big emotions. Begin small. When your phone pings, don't rush to check it. Pause. When someone interrupts you, don't snap. Pause. When plans change, don't complain. Breathe. Every pause is a rep, a workout for the mind. And just like muscles, your ability to respond grows stronger each time you practice. Think of emotional mastery like sailing. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You can steer even through rough waters. The waves won't disappear, but they'll stop determining your direction. Life will always send triggers your way. People will misunderstand you. Plans will fall apart. But if you can pause, notice, and choose, you become untouchable on the inside. Not cold. Not detached. Just clear, grounded, and free. Taking control of your mind doesn't mean building walls around your heart. It means opening your eyes wide enough to see what's truly happening, inside and outside, and responding from the best in you, not the most wounded in you, and that is the art of response. To meet life with consciousness, not conditioning. To act, not just react. To live with intention, not impulse. Because in the end, peace is not the absence of emotion. It's the mastery of it. There's a moment in life when you realize that peace doesn't come from choosing between your heart and your mind, but from letting them work together. For so long, we've been taught to separate them. The mind is logic, the heart is emotion. One is reason, the other is feeling. But real balance isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about learning how to let them dance. The mind sees the path. The heart gives it meaning. The mind analyzes. The heart understands. The mind says, "This is safe." The heart whispers, "This is true." When they move in harmony, you don't just survive, you live, because wisdom isn't cold logic and love isn't blind emotion. Wisdom is the warmth that comes when your mind and heart finally begin to listen to each other. Think of your emotions as the language of your heart. They're messages, not problems. They tell you what matters, what hurts, what brings you joy. Without them, your world would be quiet but colorless. The mind, on the other hand, is your compass. It keeps you grounded. It helps you see direction and consequence. Without it, your emotions would carry you anywhere the wind blows. You need both, the compass and the wind. The balance between thought and feeling is what allows you to sail smoothly through life. Let's imagine a simple moment. Your friend says something hurtful. Your heart reacts. You feel pain, disappointment, maybe even anger. Your mind jumps in. It wants to defend, explain, or pull away. But instead of choosing one side, you take a breath. You let both voices speak. You listen to your heart. That hurt me. And you listen to your mind. But maybe they didn't mean it that way. When you listen to both, you find the middle ground. You respond with honesty, but also with compassion. And what could have become a fight turns into understanding. That's emotional balance. When the heart and mind are out of sync, you feel pulled apart. Your heart says go, your mind says wait. Your heart says feel, your mind says don't. You live between impulse and overthinking, but when they align, your decisions feel effortless. You move through life with quiet confidence, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust yourself to listen. That's the kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. It comes from inner coherence, a state where your thoughts, emotions, and actions begin to flow in the same direction. So how do you nurture that harmony? Start by listening. Not to react, but to understand. When you feel strong emotion, don't rush to suppress or obey it. Just ask softly, what are you trying to tell me? If it's anger, maybe it's asking for fairness. If it's fear, maybe it's asking for reassurance. If it's sadness, maybe it's asking for rest. And once you've listened with your heart, invite your mind to help. Ask, what's the best way to honor this feeling without hurting myself or others? That's how emotion turns into wisdom. That's how chaos becomes clarity. Sometimes balance isn't peaceful at first. It feels like two rivers meeting, turbulent, uncertain, loud. But if you stay patient, the waters merge into one steady flow. Your emotions calm when they're seen. Your thoughts soften when they're not in charge alone. And in that quiet middle ground, you discover something beautiful. A version of yourself that feels whole. You don't need to silence your emotions to be strong. And you don't need to abandon your mind to feel deeply. Strength is when both coexist. It's when your mind says, I understand, and your heart says, I forgive. It's when you can feel pain and still stay kind. When you can face fear and still move forward, that's the harmony of heart and mind. A quiet confidence that doesn't shout, but shines gently through everything you do. So the next time you feel torn, remember, you don't have to choose between what you think and what you feel. You can hold both, like the sky holds both sun and rain. Because real peace doesn't mean never feeling pain. It means knowing how to listen to it, learn from it, and let it pass through without losing yourself in it. That's emotional balance. That's harmony. And that's the beginning of inner freedom.
There's a stillness within you that the world cannot touch. It's the place that remains calm even when everything else feels uncertain. A quiet center deep inside where peace doesn't depend on silence.
and strength doesn't require force. That's where true mastery begins. We spend so much of our lives chasing control. Control over situations, over people, over outcomes. But the truth is, the only control that truly matters is the one you build within. Because when you learn to guide your mind and hold your emotions with gentleness, you discover something extraordinary. You can stay steady even while life keeps moving. You stop needing the world to calm down in order for you to feel calm. The storms will still come. You'll still face moments of confusion, anger, loss, or fear. But they won't shake you like before. You'll feel them, yes, but you'll know they're temporary. You'll remember that emotions are waves, and waves were never meant to drown you. They were meant to teach you how to float. You'll begin to realize that peace is not about avoiding the storm. It's about finding the stillness in its center. When you take control of your mind, you stop being dragged by every thought, every opinion, every emotion that passes through. You start choosing. You start guiding. You start living with intention instead of reaction. That's what mastery looks like. Not perfection, but presence. And when you master your emotions, you don't become cold or distant. You become open, balanced, awake. You begin to respond to life not from fear, but from wisdom. You still feel deeply, but you don't get lost in the feeling. You still care, but you no longer carry the weight of everything. You start to realize the mind doesn't need to be silenced. It needs to be understood. The heart doesn't need to be controlled. It needs to be heard. When understanding and compassion meet, that's when peace is born. So when the world feels heavy, breathe. Return to yourself. Notice your thoughts and let them come and go. Notice your emotions. Let them speak and soften. And remind yourself, I am not the storm. I am the sky that holds it. Because no matter what happens around you, you always have the choice to return to that quiet center, the place within where clarity lives, where love lives, where freedom lives. And maybe that's what emotional mastery really means. Not controlling life, but flowing with it gracefully. Not suppressing what you feel, but moving through it with awareness and compassion. It's not about never falling apart. It's about knowing how to find your way back. So tonight, as you close your eyes, let go of the need to fix everything. Let go of the thoughts spinning in circles. Let go of the fear of not being enough. You have done enough. You are enough. And beneath everything that feels uncertain, there's still that calm, steady, gentle, and always waiting for you to return. Because no matter how loud the chaos gets, peace is still here. It's not out there, it's within you. Always has been. Always will be.